RDR fam. Apologies for the audio. My mic on my headset decided to stop working, so I have a new one coming in tomorrow, but we're gonna see if we can make this work for tonight. Again, sorry for the delay, trying to get the audio fixed up, and anyway, you know how that goes. All right, so look, let's do a real quick recap today. Today was a tale of what I call, like, two trades, right, or two different types of trades. If you were very aggressive, there was one type of trade you could have taken, and if you were following the rules, there was a different type of trade you could have taken, right? So let's go through it real quick. Let's say I didn't do my range today. Let's see what we had here. We had let's go 28, and we were down to way down here, so 10, so 18-point range, so well within our sweet spot. So we're good to go there. Plenty of room for the DR to make its moves. All right, so let's go in and talk about what happened really quick. A couple things here. Notice we had this move here, which again, I don't use that to form any sort of bias. I like to see a straight line move in the other direction. So that didn't help us out today. Now here's something that I did not see this until after the market would pretty much, after, like, I'll do my own personal recap for today. One thing that we talked about in the past is when DR actually confirms the IDR, right? And I don't want to call it confirming, but it just, it closes above the IDR line in this case, right? For IDR high, right? So did that on that green candle, same thing on that red candle, right? So what that tells us is there's a high probability that we were going to go up for the day, right? So now the very next thing that happens to us is, or to the market, is that price decides to go down. Okay, and so let me get so you can see everything. All right, so once price decides to go down, right, what we're getting into now is, right, we come down, we test that IDR, we test that IDR low, and then we reject off of it, right? That is a classic retirement setup, except for we never confirmed above DR, right, on the top end. And so if you're being aggressive, that's the trade you can take, because we did confirm the IDR. And again, I don't like to use the word confirm, but we closed above IDR, did not confirm DR high. But then we came down, we tested the IDR low, which again, if you look at it, it's right by midnight, right? So we know midnight is always a support and resistance for us, or it works that way a lot of times. Okay, and so then we had to move back up toward IDR on the high side. Okay, so that was the aggressive play for today. All right, now the second trade, which is again kind of the standard, safer trade, was actually, it didn't happen until like 1:15 or so, because if you look here, we actually confirmed high on this green candle. Okay, we had a wick before that doesn't count, right? But we actually closed above the DR on that candle, that green candle. We get a retrace here. Okay, now if you'd have taken that, you could have gotten in on the DR, on a DR high. You'd have had maybe 3 points of heat to withhold or withstand for the move up. Okay, and if you waited, okay, some of us like to wait. You could have gotten in down here on IDR, which gives you about another half a point or so, if I'm not mistaken. And then again, take the trade up. We're going from 28, 33 would have given you 5 points, but you could have taken that all the way up to 36. So it would have been 8 points if you'd have stayed in that long, but likely you probably got out at 5 or 6 or so. Okay, so that was the again, kind of that safe trade for today. And let's go out a little bit more. Okay, so once we had that first trade, all right, and here's where you gotta, you really have to pay attention to this, because we have this trade. That's one. Okay, all right, we're out of that trade now. Price comes back down and retests that IDR low again. All right, so where's my trade gonna go? I'm putting the order right here on the IDR, on the IDR high. All right, because now I'm looking again for the price to move up. Okay, so when I do that, I'm going from let's say 28, top of this candle is about 34 435. Could have waited, got up here for a nice 5-point move there. All right, so, and that's just about patience and really trusting the process. We talk about it all the time. Got to trust this process. All right, so if you lose one or two, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna come back and get that back. All right, so that's our second trade. All right, so we had the first one, we had the second one. Now here's the third one. Okay, price comes back down again, does the exact same thing we just did. All right, test IDR low, IDR high. I'm sorry, I keep saying low. It says IDR high, and then comes back up. Now again, here's where you'd have to be careful because we're right at 4 o'clock. Market closed at 4, so even though price went up after market, you'd have had to get out. Probably in that 5-point range, right? So that'll be your kind of safe trade number 3 for today. And that's it. That's how we play the game, boys and girls. Just really following the rules, making sure you're, staying within your risk management tolerance, and then, going from there. So if you look at these trades today, we really had no, for me, right, with a 5-point stop loss, I really had no heat on any of those trades, and just had to give it a little time for it to set up. It's hard to wait in the afternoon, which is again why I always say, the things I like to do is I like to set my alerts, right? I set my alerts at each one of these lines because I'm looking for price to, take one of those lines out so I can get my trade in. Okay, and sometimes when I'm being aggressiver, I'll actually put them on the IDR lines to see how those play out. Okay, because then that triggers me to start looking to see if it's actually going to start taking out one of the DR sides. All right, so that's how I would do that. Okay, if you're a 9 to 5er, that's how you can stay in a trade without having to look at the chart all day. Shout out to my man Tim from Spider Gang. We were talking about that a little earlier. About if you're a 9 to 5 trader, you don't really have time to watch the charts like a true ICT student would. Then this is a good way to kind of get in trades and get out without having to be too specific about things. But highly encourage you, if you really want to learn about ICT, go check out the Spider Gang. Great group, and Tim does a really good job of breaking down all the various ICT concepts. Every week he has a new one. So Tim does really good at breaking that down. So just want to give a shout out to my man. He's always shouting me out, so got to return the favor. All right. So anyway, that's it, man. That's DR for today. I already looked at, let's cheat a little bit, right? And I'm looking at what we just did for the ADR, right? The Asian range or Asian session. Again, we don't worry about the range too much for the Asian session because it's always smaller. But here, look what we did. Really simple trade today for that one, right? We confirmed low on that red candle, retrace right above that. Order sits on the DR low, and we're in business. Okay, so that's the preview for that one. But again, really a simple trade. Just following the rules. All right. Anyway, that's it, guys. I know I said I wouldn't take long, and hopefully the audio on this is not super horrible. I'm afraid it might be, but hopefully there's some good gems in there for you guys to take into account. We will do this again tomorrow. I'll have a new headset, hopefully, so it'll be get the microphone working again. And if you like what you see, just like the video, all that good stuff that everybody tells you to do. I don't beg for likes, but if you like it, just feel free to do that. And if you have a comment or a question, feel free to ask that question as well. All right, you guys take it easy. Don't forget, love on your loved ones, because you never know when you won't be able to do it again. So take advantage of the opportunity. All right, love you. We'll talk to you later.